hello and welcome also from us. We are the OpenLän group. We call it, our topic is bridging history and people. My name is Luise. I'm a cultural anthropologist and sociologist from my background with work experience in project design and management in international development and HR.
Hi, my name is Hashim Mbita. I am an exchange student from University of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I have a background in computer science and I major mostly in web development and user design.
I'm Faisa. I'm a professional nurse and have a master in quality improvement within healthcare. I've worked as a manager within healthcare.
Hi, I'm Rahman Fahim. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm doing my master's at Stockholm University. My master's is globalization, environment, and social change. And at free time, I make maps and study about geography.
Hi, my name is Ursula. I do a master in urban and regional planning at Stockholm University. I have a background in the arts and I'm a dance and choreographer and I've worked with that for a long time.
And I started the presentation. So our challenge giver, some words about them. It's Stockholms Läns Museum. And Stockholms Läns Museum is preserving the country's cultural heritage and also future heritage. And it's a digital museum, so in a way you can imagine it a bit like if you think of a traditional museum that kind of like makes people come into the house. Stockholm Läns Museum has like this cloud that makes people go out of the house and explore the surrounding. The target group is like local citizens, and what they're working towards is kind of like making history accessible, but also kind of like work for a feeling of belonging. So this digital museum is struggling with the physical sign. They have many out there, but they kind of like lost track a little bit. So they approached us with the challenge of like, can we produce a plate, a sign that is easy to read, will tell us if it is damaged and is kind to the environment. And then we went into this process where we kind of like asked first, like, is this really the problem? So we talk to a lot of people out there, kind of like find out what do they think, how do they know the museum, what's cultural heritage for them. And then we put all of this knowledge into kind of like this wheel where we kind of like try to find another perspective and kind of like find the hidden information in all the knowledge that we gained. And then this kind of like insights came out, and the main insights for our project was like for the Stockholm Läns Museum to be known, it needs to be where people are. And the learning about culture needs to be engaging and create a positive experience. The majority of the interviews want to keep a real life experience, so the real artifact needs to be there. But the digital and the physical have to be interrelated and ideally easily accessible. And then maybe the most important or very important insight is that a sign next to a site alone will not make history more accessible to people. So in a way we need to think about the sign in a broader sense. We kind of like made this thinking about it's like our personas, Jonas, Emilia and Nill, and they kind of like have different degrees of interest in culture in general, different ages, and we kind of like assigned specific needs to them. So like a very important need for Jonas is that he needs to have meaningful free time activities with his kids. Emily, very young, is looking for more cool settings for Instagram pictures, and maybe Jill, who is more knows a lot about cultural heritage, she would love to share her knowledge to a broader audience. So we have these three things. We have like the cloud, the museum, we have the real sites out there, and when we have the people, and we found out that like what is really important and what doesn't always work yet here is the connections in between those. So we kind of like redefine the challenge that she got into how can the digital and physical presence of the history of the region of Stockholm be bridged to people through engaging channels. And then in the next step, we became creative.
Yes. And here we had the privilege to address the very different needs, the diverse needs of the citizens of Stockholm, those who we met. And we created different concepts or solutions that would cater to the different needs and go very broad what those type of needs could be. So our first concept was something we call connected maps. The idea here is to integrate the destinations to visit that are identified in Stockholms Läns Museum to platforms that are maps that are already used, like Google Maps or Naturkartan. And the idea is to make it more accessible, to get the information that's already there, and also that Stockholms Läns Museum will be more visible and known to those who use maps. The second concept is heritage harmony. In this, we wanted to introduce a modern technique with augmented reality. So you would have digital elements in the real world that you could view through a screen. Here, maybe most commonly would be a mobile phone. If anyone does not know of augmented reality, I think most of us interact with it maybe through Snapchat, maybe, it's also used in retail and stuff like that. Then we also have a pop-up fika. I think the name is quite self-explanatory. It's a physical event that's been held in different sites where people could, it could be theme-based, where people could interact and engage. And Länsquizet is a quiz published in newspapers, local newspapers. Here in this picture, it's in the Mid-East Stockholm, that's in different local areas. But it could also be published in Facebook groups that are quite often used. And holographic history is a concept where we wanted to make use of holograms or holographic technique to actually have physical projections. Here you could have projections of historical people or could visualize historical events. And we think this is more of a wow factor, could appeal to people that are maybe not, that reach a wide audience that might be or might not be interested in history. An info board is an interactive physical board on different sites that ideally differs from traditional sites that we could interact. Here in this picture, there's one of a time scale where you could actually view how a certain setting have changed through time. And Frame to the Past is also a physical experience on different sites where you would have a frame that would put different sites in focus or different persons in focus. And after this, we had a selection process where we had different criteria that we thought could be useful for us to choose. Here we weighted in reach as a high weight criteria, and there were also other criteria like sustainability, and that would be both environmental and economic, but also the wow factor, other things that could appeal to as many people as possible. And actually, with that weighing, initially we chose the results was connected maps, the integration of the destinations visit to Google Maps and other maps that are available, but we chose to go against that. We didn't really move forward with that concept still, because we thought this is something that could easily be done on the museum themselves, and that we wanted to also appeal and address other maybe less practical options that would be more learning. So we chose Heritage Harmony and info board and framing to the past, a merge of those concepts. We are very fond of our other concepts, so we had a bit difficulty letting it all go. So we sort of made a little booklet for you to see with recommendations on how you could still move forward with the other concepts that we did not. could choose within this source. And here I think we have a video of how this could work, and I'll leave to my colleague.
Yeah, and in the spirit of design thinking, we show and don't tell. We tell later, but we'll roll with it first. And
It's Sunday. What you see is an Iron Age cultural heritage site in the county of Stockholm. This is Jonas and his kids.
Hey, hey!
Hey kids, look
Hey.
what we have in here.
Pappa, vad är det här? Ah, there's a frame!
Yes,
A frame!
there is a frame and that you can turn from 3 different sides.
Pause, explanation.
On the info board, you can indicate what is visible when you position the frame at a certain angle.
Wow, Papa! You can move the frame! And look what I can find here! Ooh, a house appears! That is funny! So cool! Can you lift it? Sure! But look, it looks so funny if I turn it and then take the picture somewhere else. That's exciting!
Another person out is Jill.
And Jill actually find a scan code on the side of the frame, and she's gonna scan this code.
Oh, there's the scan code. Now, oh, the background is moving. And I can see, look over here, there used to be a house. And if I move to the other side, I can see this used to be where the river is. Oh, let me look at this. And maybe I can even hear what Stockholm Läns Museum can tell me more about it. Isn't this clever? Wow!
Do you remember Emily?
The best
She knows about the frame from social media channels.
can actually take really cool pictures in different places all over the region where you can find the frames from Stockholm Läns Museum.
This is quite engaging. Find another place so that you can visit that place.
so, you met our personas again and how they would interact with our concept that we then also tested. And we call it the AR board. And it has the different components of an AR component, the frame, and obviously some sort of substructure. And we're gonna take it a bit apart now and go more into detail what those parts are. I start with the analog part. So the frame to the past, we called it and kept it sort of as one of our features from the first concept selection. And we sort of think about the frame as a picture. At home, when you put it in a gallery, you put something special, something precious into a frame. So by putting a frame out there and then even make it movable to the things you're supposed to be seeing, it also puts sort of heritage back into focus. Things you take for granted and pass on a daily basis, they now get like a highlight and get framed again. We also think that with making it that we can move it and twist it, you can see at sites where there's, I don't know, a graveyard and just rubble, that you then actually see, aha, this is what I'm supposed to be seeing here, and it takes a different perspective. And again, different people have different interests, different needs, and you can then really also change the viewpoints again. The pictures on the left side, these handles that you can let down, we call them that they're really location-related movable elements. And here we thought, especially for children, when we say we want a digital and a physical experience, that also for children it would be fun if there's something happening. And it also creates a dialogue. Here we see Karin Boye here in the Openlab, but imagine someone like this out there and the kids can play with it, and you as parents can then also start, or whoever goes with them, start in a dialogue and talking about what you see. And then the other thing, you blend sort of in on the selfies, or that you create this new layer with an overlay together. You sort of also become part of it. And this idea of creating the belonging, and for us as Stockholmers to be part of it, you kind of blend in as well. And we thought it's fun. Critical success factors. I mean, we right away think about the maintenance, that obviously it's out of playing very quickly comes that it's breaking, so material is really key, especially the hinge could be a very weak point. What we realized, and in our report we have a whole chapter on it, and we really dedicated sort of this testing period to the symbol effectiveness. People are tired of QR codes, for example, and they think, oh, there's another text. So what needs to be on this frame that people not think, oh, it's just taking us to something really boring. So here you see some of our tests of what is understandable. We also thought there should be some sort of a tracker in that system, that the museum knows how many people are actually using it, and also the AR. And obviously, there could be a different top structure. It could be a 3D house of a house that you're supposed to be seeing there, or it was used to be there. But also, it could be a different substructure, as here, I mean, environmental risk assessments and so on, giving the green light, maybe other structures, fences, or other existing elements. I forgot to mention on the other side, maybe here, sorry, I'm jumping back. We would also suggest to start with mounting the frame on maybe existing signs as a first batch, and also to understand how it's taken up and make use of those that are existing. Another substructure could be an audio pole, because we also had the insights that people really like to hear something which could correspond with the different angles as well. So on the final frame, to really spark that interest for our people, we think there should be the logo, the name obviously, an instruction of what these handles can do, a catchy phrase. Right now we use scan yourself to your past, and then some sort of trigger for the digital content.
So moving to the AR part, we had a couple of prototypes that we tried out, and this here is Karin Boye.
Den mätta dagen, den är aldrig störst. Den bästa dagen är en dag av törst. Nog finns det.
So on this prototype, what we tried is to blend the statues, because there are plenty of statues when you walk around, and people are curious. Like from the insights we got, people are curious to know or to learn more from the statues that they see. And sometimes you might get a small explanation on the statue or none at all. So we thought, how can we bring to life those statues and people can learn more from them? And since we thought of AR as our way to convey our solution, we started by trying this statue here, where the poem that she was reciting, actually got it from Stockholm Läns Museum. Like they have these audios, when you go to different sites, you can listen to them and they can tell you more about those places. And that's what we did with this prototype. And this prototype here, it's another type.
Edsbro masugn och ljudguiden med syntolkning. I den här guiden kommer du först att få en vägbeskrivning till varje sevärdhet. Sen följer en berättelse och sist kommer en syntolkning. Om det är något av inslag.
So on that prototype there, we tried to bring to life that, so you might go to a place today and it's totally different from how it was 10 years ago. And what we were thinking on that prototype is bringing a 360 view of how it looked, or how it looked, and also integrating an audio option, so that when you are getting the 360 view of the place, you can also get to listen from from an expert and tell you more about the place. And that was the idea with that place. And also you noticed it kind of gave a notification, like, do you wanna keep on seeing the content or get to another page, and that there was a redirection where you can choose to read more about the site. And when you choose to read more about the site, you get redirected to the Stockholm Läns Museum cloud, where it was initially pointed out. And yeah, if you choose to stay, then you can get like a whole audio thing and you continue just moving around. And the idea too was to make it not requiring the users to download an app, because people were kind of skeptical, like, will I be required to download another app so that I can get to interact with this? So with all these prototypes that we tried, they didn't require for a person to download another app. It's like you can just scan, and yeah, when we are later on the break, we'll pass some flyers and you can try them out. Yeah, so here are the critical success factors. The first one was user friendly. Like, people are curious to see, and our initial design, the audio option was kind of plain whenever you start the thing. So like on the go, you start hearing the audio. And we thought of that, how can we make it more user friendly, like to give an option for the users whether they want to listen to the audio or not. And the other one was emphasis on storytelling, like how we make the flow of the content was something that we picked up from the interviews. And a hybrid approach. The other thing was, this was more in our perspective when we were sitting down and discussing the prototype, like it reached a point there, for these contents, it will require experts, like to be outsourced and stuff like that. And some can be developed with theme, and maybe the museum can work on that more. And clarity on ownership, like for example with the Karin Boyer statue, it can be owned by someone else and the content can be created by someone else. And yeah, again, ideally not app-based, until it's necessarily needed. And the other thing was partnership with stakeholders for co-creation and effective marketing. Like, there can be experts that are really good in making and bringing the elements more to life. And yeah, those are the things that we thought will spark more interest to the user. Moving forward.
So finally, if we mount the frame in front of the top structures, or if we install the substructures, so our personas will get some kind of benefits, obviously. So this is the viewpoints of personas. So so remember the Jill, he is more knowledgeable about the cultural things. So what we'll find, she will visit to any Stockholm Läns Museum place, and she will get an analog experience, and can also hear the audio information from one of the substructures, his audio poles, and also she can spread the news to other persons so that other people will get the information properly. So Jonas have a kid, so he can interact with his kids and spend some good times with his kids, and it will actually, and also he will find the frame is quite eye-catching, and he can point out 3 different places so that he can see what the places looks like and take a perfect spot to take a photos actually. And Emily will find the AR content is actually quite engaging and interacting, and Emily will can see through her photo even without apps, obviously, and also Emily, if she want to engage without phone, and obviously can engage it through our final products. So that's we're gonna show it on the next slide. So this is actually our final product. So here you can see the substructure, top structure, and hinge, and frame, and one side there is a frame. So in terms of installing this product, we need to think about some of the expenses. So in terms of AR, we thought we need prototype cost, maintenance, content, coding, and hosting fee. And in terms of installing the bottom parts, we need to think about labor, quality control, installations, and materials. And what kind of benefits actually Stockholm's Läns Museum gets basically. So it's about the human psychology, because the frame will be the same size, same structures, and same recognizable. So if one person go one of the Stockholms Läns Museum place, and he or she will find the Fahim as an identity actually of that. This place is belong to Stockholms Läns Museum. So based on this identity, it will able to get some kind of public relations so that it can make a collaboration with other government entity, and we want the preservation place or conservation place is a part of our urban natures, so that people can go there and interact, and people can able to manage can engage themselves. So it will improve the community engagement things, and with the AR content. And in social media, we actually see Stockholms Läns Museum sometimes organize collecting a lot of past photos. So based on their references, we will make a good content. We will make a good story in AR. So it will link. Link generational differences, obviously. And finally, the domino effect is like if the Stockholms Läns Museum can able to implement this concept properly, it will actually it will express as references, so that other commune can also follow our work and preserve their own preserve their identities, actually cultural identity. So that's the domino effect. So that's kind of benefits to it, right? And finally, the bridging.
So coming back to this overview, we think that with the AR boards, that we do bridge the history and people. We think that the wow effect is really blending the digital and the physical side. And also, if you would see this at a heritage site, you would learn more about this cloud, more about the museum. And on the other side, knowing and you had this positive experience, that you would go directly also to the digital and the museum content. And obviously this is really in a developmental stage, but it can grow in different directions, and as it is so adjustable to the site, we also think there's big potential for all the sites here. We want to also say thank you, but not just for the audience, but also our challenge givers, the coaches and Openlab, for challenging us on different levels, that we learned quite a bit and developed some unknown passions in the team. Thank you.